Mike McCool here in the Royal Examiner studio, and with me today, well, I have the people that like to dig in the dirt. Everyone knows Fern Vazquez, and she's going to introduce who we have with us today. We're going to hear talking about the CHEO, the Community something Garden.
I can help you with that. Okay. Citizens helping each other.
That's right. I keep wanting to put community in there. We always call it the Community Garden, which it is. Right. So why don't you introduce everyone with us? We know some of them. Go ahead.
Okay. This is Joanne Royaltey, and I'll let her tell a little bit more about what she does. This year, the Master Gardeners have taken a real interest in our garden and are actively providing advice and helping us with our planning.
Sure.
And we are so excited to have them. Next seated is Joanne Koszyk.
Yeah. And she uses all the stuff.
Not all of it. She's head of CCAP. The garden is now under CCAP.
Right.
And then our gentleman over there is Alan Thompson, and he is helping us with our fence this year.
Oh, good.
I brought him along because I thought maybe one of your first questions was going to be what happened to your garden last year?
Yes, I will ask that. All right, so
we'll let him.
Let's talk about Joanne and see what the Virginia Cooperative Extension is doing with gardening this year.
Well, so just so we all know, Cooperative Extension trains Master Gardeners, and I'm really happy to say that this year our training was in Front Royal in Warren County, and so the majority of folks who undertook the training are Warren County residents. So hearing about this project is near and dear to their heart. These folks go through a rigorous training involving many hours of study and then volunteering. They go from trainee to intern, and when they complete all of those hours, then they become an Extension Master Gardener. So my job is to supervise all of these folks in the 5 counties, not only Warren County, but we cover Winchester, Frederick, Clark, Page, and Shenandoah. Right. But when you do a project like this, it's all about community. So sure. We're all interested in what you do, because one of the things that's first and foremost with being an Extension Master Gardener volunteer is to make sure that the work we do improves the quality of life. When we're providing the education and the research-based information, it's to improve everybody's life. So that's why we're interested in being here and being part of it.
Well, I know Virginia Tech does a lot of research and agricultural, and so this all kind of trickles down into your garden. So all the neat little things we learn. When I was just put lime on it, that'll fix it, but that's not always true, is it?
Well, and what I became a Master Gardener during COVID, which was a strange time to become a Master Gardener since everything closed down. But what you learn when you go through the training is exactly all the things you've been doing wrong all these years.
That's right. Yeah. Too much water, not enough water. Put some coffee on it. Put something else on it.
Yeah. So, and the other thing, going through the training, I know a lot of people say, "Oh, I can put fertilizer on my garden because things will grow bigger." And if the directions say put a teaspoon, I'll put a cup because more is better. But just like, with pesticides, with, any kind of chemicals, more is not better.
No, less is better. Less is more. That's what they say.
Right. And, the label is the law in Virginia. So if you are using any kind of chemical, whether it's a fertilizer or pesticide, make sure you read that label and follow it.
All right, your turn.
Yeah, I'm Joanne Koszyk. I am the Executive Director of Front Royal Warren County CCAP. And we're so excited that we have taken the Community Helping Each Other Garden, the CHEO Community Garden, under CCAP's umbrella. It really was a very natural turn of events because we like to help, not just CCAP, but we like to help the whole community with fresh produce. Fresh produce is such a sticking point at CCAP. If you go to CCAP at any time and look at the freezers, you'll be very sad that there'll be very little produce in the coolers. It's just a way, we just don't get a lot of it. We try everything we can. Alan Thompson here is one of the people that picks up at the Blue Ridge Area Food Bank, and he's always talking them into giving them free stuff, which is great. That's why we love sending Alan. He'll come back and he'll be like, "Wow, a box of 400 watermelon," and then Pam, our office manager, goes, "What are we gonna do?" But anyway, we love the fact that Alan's so able to talk people into stuff, which is good. But we do need produce. Produce is really the key. And we are part of the Blue Ridge Area Food Bank's Healthy Pantry Initiative, which we have kind of signed an agreement that we're going to provide balanced and healthy options for families. It's very hard because CCAP cannot afford to purchase produce on an ongoing basis. It would cut way too much into the budget that we have. Therefore, the community garden is going to fill that gap. The plan initially was not only to supply CCAP clients, but to distribute to the entire community in need. So the Blue Ridge Area Food Bank has given us a grant to purchase an additional cooler just for the community garden produce. And then, once this thing once our abundance of produce comes in this year, I'm positive. So we're going to distribute it at CCAP to other agencies as well. So it's not just CCAP that will benefit. It will be the entire community. Hopefully, we're going to get much more produce than we did last year, which will be easy because we didn't get anything last year. So anyway.
Well, in the past, though, we've got a couple thousand pounds of produce out of the garden.
Yes.
Yeah,
Right.
and that was the anticipation
Yeah.
last year, and then we were like, uh-oh. So
So since 2020, I think we've done about 13,000 pounds of produce.
Right.
It's amazing.
So it's, so it has been very successful.
Yeah.
Right. So are we down to just one garden location
We are
now?
down
Yes.
to one garden.
One
One on
perfect.
Blue Ray.
Yes.
We're still in the same place over
Yes.
there?
Yeah, Lou Ray. One perfect garden that we're going to do everything we can to help it to produce and keep the varmints out this year, because that was our problem last year. I had talked to a couple of area farmers, and apparently the drought caused, all kinds of, critters to go underneath and find food wherever
And
they
they
could.
can do
and
it.
they just went into our garden, and they benefited, but the community did not.
They go from the bottom up.
That's what they did, yeah. So we're digging the fence. Well, Alan will get into that. We're kind of securing the garden better anyway. So
Right.
we're grateful. We're grateful to be able to do
Here, I
this.
thought they just brought you for the eye candy.
Exactly. I'm Alan Thompson. I've been with CCAP a couple of years. I do logistics and support, and I'm thrilled to be part of the garden. I've been working with Fern, with Joanne's husband Mark, to do some work there last year. But this year is really a big opportunity for us. We're putting in a 400-foot fence. Mark has done it before, so he's our lead planner, and the fence will be 6 foot high. We've got very significant corner posts in, thanks to True Value Hardware Store. We got the free use of a backhoe, so we spent about 6 hours last week digging a trench, a 400-foot trench, to put the second part of our fence. The first part will be 6 feet tall. Now, deer can jump 8, but they rarely do. Groundhogs don't jump, as you know. So for any groundhogs listening, you're not going to be able to be visiting this year. You're going to have to go someplace else, maybe down by the river or float down to another town. So we're also going to put a fence in the ground. We've dug a very significant trench, and we're going to be putting a fence down quite some depth and quite some angle. And we think between the two that'll be attached together, that'll preclude the majority of varmints from attacking our garden. So we're excited to do that. We've had a great group of volunteers last week. We'll have another group this week, and we'll have the fence essentially done by the end of the week. So we're very excited to be part of the community garden from CCAP perspective. And I grew up on vegetables, raising vegetables as a young man in Connecticut. So I'm excited to be part of this endeavor for the community.
If you can just keep one out, that'll keep them from telling their friends.
Exactly.
And that's
Word
what
of
helps.
mouth.
Word of mouth. And it works. I mean,
That's exactly
you ever
how it
watch
works.
ants and
Right.
things do that? They'll get one, the next thing you know, there's 5,000 of them
That's
there,
right.
right?
I think we all need to keep in mind, even with the best laid plans,
Right.
the most magnificent fence,
That's right.
all the knowledge you gained from last year. Climate impact is part of our lives, and we cannot control that.
That's right.
You can do all the things right, and if we have a drought and you have water restrictions or you don't have a well you can draw on, you're going to be dealing with that. And that's one of the ways I see Master Gardeners helping, is encouraging you to do water-wise gardening. And there are some steps you can take, with mulching, with early morning watering, etc. So
Do we still have the irrigation
Yes, we do.
system?
We have a
There
drip
you
system.
go.
We have a drip system.
That makes a big
And that makes a
difference. Like
difference.
that gentleman
Yes.
Yeah.
put that in for you a
Right.
couple years ago.
Yes,
That was
he-
great.
And he was a farmer from Arizona.
Right.
And he
He
helped to
knows.
develop that. He helped to develop that system.
That drip thing really works. It
It
puts the
does.
water right
Yes.
where you need
And
it.
it's
Exactly.
efficient.
Don't waste it.
And
Yeah.
it's efficient in terms of usage. One of the things I wanted to add to Alan's is that the biggest part of our fence, putting together our fence, is going to be this coming Wednesday
That's right.
around 10 o'clock. So
Okay.
anybody within our listening audience who feels an urge to get out there, I would encourage them to do so.
And bring a shovel. We have to put all the dirt that we dug
I
out
was gonna say-
with the machine back
Right.
in. We're going to do that manually.
Yeah,
Right.
that's pretty much about the way to do it, isn't it?
Exactly.
Right.
I was going to just say, do we need any volunteers?
Always.
Always.
So
At
it's always,
CCAP in the garden.
Yeah.
that's right. Yeah, that's one. If
Always
you're looking for
volunteers.
something just to volunteer, something to do in our community, and again, it's not a long-term commitment. You can do it per project, per day.
Yep.
Just kind of get a hold of Joanne or Fern
Myself,
or someone.
right.
Yeah, and we'll put all that information where to get a hold of
Will
everybody
you?
below in the story. And it's a good work.
Exactly.
One
Yes.
of the things that I also wanted to bring out, and we mentioned Ramsey's Hardware, we've had so much support over the years from the different businesses in the community. Lowe's has helped us. They've given us free stuff. Bonnie Plants actually gives us all of our plants.
Right.
Wonderful.
And Evergrow has helped us with advice. They've given us some free stuff. They've given us discounts on other stuff that we've purchased. So the garden really does have a broad base of support here, and we couldn't do it without these
could not.
partners.
Right.
Yeah.
So is the Master Gardeners, is this kind of like the first year that they're officially involved in the garden?
Well, we're not taking it on as a project. But they are going to be offering advice and support and education around the plantings, around the conservation.
A good
et
group of
cetera.
volunteers. 'Cause
Yes.
Yeah.
We know the Master Gardeners, and they love digging in the dirt. So, and they're passionate about it. So
Yeah.
that's why they do it. It's
The keyword
great.
is master.
That's right. They're
Right.
master.
No. We need to clarify that right now. The master, infers that we know everything. We don't.
They're lifelong learners.
We are
That's right.
lifelong learners. We learn from our mistakes, but what we have learned to do is provide research-based information.
Yes.
So whatever you hear from us is not going to be a home remedy. It's not going to be what to do according to Aunt Sally with your tomatoes. It's going to be something that has been researched and proven.
and documented, and they've shown results.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of like what Aunt Sally did, though, but she did it over 30 years in her garden, and she was able to say, well, it works here.
But it may not work there.
That's right, exactly. And that's the thing, the dirt is different everywhere. It is. So what's the plan? Are we planting soon?
We're planting on Saturday, May 10th.
Okay.
And on Saturday, May 3rd, we're doing garden preparation.
Okay.
And what this will involve is we plant using for our tomatoes and other viney crops if we can, like cucumbers. We plant them around cattle fencing, and the cattle fencing, the vines then grow up the cattle fencing, and it keeps them off the ground.
Makes it easier
And
to
it
harvest.
makes it so much easier to harvest. So we'll be putting up that cattle fencing. We'll be laying out the irrigation lines. My hope is, this is what our goal is, and it's worked pretty good in the past, is that when it comes to planting on May 10th, that you'll have the rows designated because the irrigation lines are there, and all they really have to do is come and take that plant and put it into the ground. And so we like to do this in stages.
Sure.
So May 3rd, and we like to start around 9. Some people, show up a little earlier.
Yeah.
And then May 10th. Are the two dates to remember.
Okay.
If you have an interest in gardening and,
Yeah.
would like to come lend a hand, bring some gloves with you. I have some gloves, but not enough. And maybe a trowel or, any hoe or anything that you would normally use in the
Right.
garden.
And then in about 30 days, we're going to start needing weed pullers.
Yes.
And
Maybe
people to-
even before.
Maybe
Yeah.
before.
Maybe some hoers.
And so
Right.
it's a work all summer long, and I know that things you harvest in multiple stages, I know, throughout
Yes.
the summer.
Right.
But it's a great work. I tell you, it's a lot of work.
Yes.
But you have a lot of people. I notice you have families and kids and all sorts of
Yes.
different people come different days of the week to do
Yes.
things. So it's a great place. It's a learning experience. I
It
think it's
is.
like a classroom out in the field. So
That is
and people
true.
love it. People that love it, it's a great work. And I think you really feel when you harvest, that's when the reward comes. And then when you see the impact that it has in our community,
Yes.
that's a
Yes.
double whammy. So it's great.
Right.
I mean,
That's
I
great.
just want to say my husband and I have been there for planting day. And the first time we did it, we were like expecting to be there for like the day. And then we were only really there 2 hours. It's not, planting day is quick. It's not,
Sure.
it doesn't take a long time. It takes,
prepared.
a few hours and you're done. But the best part is there's going to be so many other community giants that I call them down there, helping out. Like we had that time, we had Rotary, we had all kinds of different community agencies down there.
Many hands make light work.
Yes,
Is
but
that how they say that?
it also made you feel part of something.
Right.
Like before the plants even came out of the ground. I mean, before the vegetables even came out of the harvested, you felt like you were part of something great. So that would be that's my plug.
Yeah.
Go down there for planting day. You're only going to spend a couple of hours of your time. You're going to meet some great people, and you'll have a great time.
So what's the items we're planning this year?
Well, we've kind of stuck with the same items. It took us about 2 years to kind of figure out, like, what do people really like? So,
And what grows in our garden?
and what grows in our garden? They love tomatoes. We do squash. We do cucumbers, peppers. We plant lettuce, onions. And so what we've done is not have like like 15 different varieties of
Sure.
things. You find what people like and you plant a lot of that item.
Right. Well, and those things you mentioned have a high yield as
Yes.
well. And you can plant your cucumbers and squash and
Yeah,
pick on
and
that.
they'll keep on growing.
Harvest that all summer long, it
Right.
seems like. Yeah.
There are a couple of one-offs that I like in the garden that are actually like kind of good for the garden, like onions, for
Sure.
example. Like they help to ward off certain, and this is
Sure.
your territory. So we want to. So I do plant some onions. Lettuce has a couple pickings, but
Sure.
with the heat, it'll dissipate
But the onions, they last a long time, so you can harvest
Yes.
them and keep them
and keep them.
all summer long.
Green beans is another favorite thing, and you can like plant them throughout. Like when
Right.
this is done,
Succession
right? You
planting.
can do succession planting, so that keeps them going.
You tried
So-
corn a couple of years ago.
Yeah, we didn't have as much success with corn, and what I found is that corn is a huge attractor of deers.
Yes.
So and it's
And
kind of-
water.
and water, right? And so I found that like sometimes you try things, they don't work as well, and so
Sure.
you're like, okay, now I know, and that's
You plant the corn out away from the garden.
right.
It's like your flowers. Just put them out there.
Right.
They'll eat them. Yeah.
Right.
I did that at home, thinking, well, I'm just going to give them something to eat. It just enticed them to come on
They
in and
want to
get
come
the
back and
rest.
have more.
He said, this is pretty good. I'm going to look around. Well, Alan, what do you want to say about all this?
Well, I'm just excited to be part of the community, and I think this is a great endeavor. I grew up working vegetables for a couple of years, and we got a beautiful piece of land thanks to the Catholic Church. We've got a new fence going in. We've got volunteers that have helped us with prior years. I hope some more come out and join us, and it's exciting to give back to the community.
Right. Speaking of which, because that property was recently sold, right?
Correct.
And so,
Yes. So St. John's the Baptist Catholic Church owns that property. Father Guy has been wonderful in allowing us to continue. I've kept him abreast of all the planning.
He's been down to see our work.
He's been down to see the work, and so they've been wonderful about allowing us to continue there.
it's great.
And Father Guy actually likes gardening.
Yeah, well, that's good.
Yeah.
It's always good. It does help, doesn't it?
Right, it helps.
Maybe he'll give a little blessing there. Help the harvest
Maybe a
along.
couple.
You never know. You never know. Well, look, I appreciate everything you do, and we're going to get you back in maybe a little month or so from now. We'll kind of see how when the green starts coming up out of the dirt. And we want to complete and stress again that we always need volunteers.
Yep.
And it's not like all summer long you can kind of come and go. Just let someone know when you want to come. And it's just great. And thanks again, Joanne, for all the things that the Master Gardeners do.
I have to say, listening to these folks, it makes us proud to be part of this conversation because it really is a community
Yeah.
joining together, and you are going to impact so many.
Well, and they might generate some more business for you. Come on. Let people say, hey, I really like this. You guys really know what you're doing. And
But there, it's like the whole is greater than the sum of its parts, and that's what you are proving.
Sure.
You're impacting lives, but
Yes.
you're coming together and not reinventing the
right.
wheel.
Yeah, because we're helping the people that are doing it, but we're also helping the people at the end. So it's great. Habitat for gardening. I mean, that's kind of like first thing I thought of. Anyway. But it's great work, and I do appreciate all the things that you do. And I'm glad you got Alan in there to give some muscle.
And Mark,
Yeah,
he's our key.
Mark will be down
Yeah,
there
yeah.
Wednesday.
Yeah, behind every successful man is a woman pushing him.
That's right.
Exactly.
That's right.
Exactly. I have to be very careful though. There's a lot to do at CCAP. I got to pick and choose my battles.
Yeah, you want to pick you want to pick your battles and pick which ones you really need them to do.
Yeah.
Again, thanks so much. We'll see you in a month or so. Okay.
And
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you very much.